All right, in the last activity, we took a look at compositional strategies, and this time we're going to be building on that notion by talking about how to emphasize a focal point. In this lesson, we're going to be taking a look at a few different strategies that can be used. All right, building on last time, we still need to be able to define what a focal point is. All right, at this point, you should be able to explain why it's important to visually emphasize the focal point. Identify a variety of strategies used to help emphasize a focal point and describe how they've been used in exemplars. And again, similar to last time, you want to make sure that you're going to be able to apply these strategies through your thumbnailing, preliminary sketches, and into your final pieces as well. So, focal point again, just as a reminder, is the center of visual interest or activity at which the artist attempts to direct the viewer's attention through the deliberate use of visual strategies. And this is specifically what we're going to be talking about today. Keeping in mind, right, the focal point may or may not be in the actual center of the painting or artwork. So, in this case, one way of creating emphasis for the focal point is to use the principle of contrast. Contrast is the stark difference between two things, typically color, light, size. It could even be texture, for example, right? And through this contrast, the differences, we're able to direct the viewer's gaze to what we believe to be more important. Right? So in this case, for me, my point of view would be that the blowhorn in the figure's hand in the top left is the focal point, which is created through the use of very stark contrast of the bright white against the black background. A second strategy is convergence or leading lines. Right? And this is the use of natural or imposed lines that point to where you want the viewer to look. So in this case, the focal point really is the man who is quickly riding his bicycle through the street. Right? We can tell that he's moving quickly because he's out of focus, but we have these wonderful lines from the stairwell that starts on the left-hand side and curves through past the center, and then when it ends, it's pointing directly towards where the cyclist is going. The third strategy is the use of isolation. In this image by Roger Shimomura, diary from 1978, there's a sense that everything is about the woman who's in the left, who's really in the foreground. The rest of the composition lacks the detail, except for the horizontal lines for the floorboards and the small little bit of patterning that's on the woman's clothing in the top right. Right? She's really all by herself in this space, and there's not a whole lot else going on. Okay? In this image, placement is really important, and we're using multiple small focal points of emphasis to help the viewer's eyes travel throughout the composition. So for example, in this one, my eye first comes to the bottom center with the man who is tilling the ground with the plow that's being pulled by the horse. Right? It's down towards the bottom, placed in the foreground, uses a color that's very different than everything else, again using that notion of contrast, but placed right in the front where we're supposed to be paying the most attention. Right? And then again, there's secondary focal points as well. Right? As the eye begins to travel, it looks at the horse through the trees, and then up along the coast towards the horizon line. So again, make sure that you're thinking about these four strategies as you are creating your own work.